Media Art Award under the title of Art Plus Prize. So we invite 10 very good professional nominators. I mean, Mark is one of them as well. So they nominated 3 media artists in UK, not only in London, I mean throughout whole UK. And then out of 30 artists, we choose 10 artists from the nominator.
Right.
And we are making an exhibition for 2 weeks. And then after, we'll choose 3 artists. One artist is a first prize, and second artist and second prize. And then we also nominate for the lifetime achievement artist as well.
All right.
So this is, of course, I mean, selected artists, but we cannot say this is curated exhibition.
I see. And
They're selected by the good nominators.
right. Can you tell us about a few criterion in selecting the short list? What kind of elements you look when digital art, is in question for such an exhibition?
I think this is very interesting questions. We don't put a certain criteria for selecting artworks, but I mean there are many different genres in media art nowadays. That's why we ask a nominator to suggest some of the works which can be shown as a screen-based and sometimes single channel videos or diptych and triptych, that type of screen-based artworks orientated, but at the same time they are dealing with our society, and our society can be used to produce these works, I mean, with the help of digital media and film and archive, I mean, from our new tools in our time.
I see. And one final question for you is, apart from supporting the digital art as an art form, what message should we, as the media, and you, as the organizer of such an exhibition, give to the masses to attract them to this kind of exhibition as opposed to other forms of art?
Thank you very much for that particular question. I really believe that nowadays the world is becoming global. Communication, possible through many new technologies. And I really think the real term of global can apply to this form of art called media art, digital art. Because West and the East started their new platform from the almost similar period in the end of 19th century. Photography and film came out as a new tools for visual languages. That's why we think it'll be really interesting to see how this artist using the new technology to produce the new art from the same platform as a starting point.
All right.
It's a very democratic medium. It's a really global medium as a visual language, I believe.
And congratulations for organizing such a
Thank you very much.
And if you could ask you a few questions as well, please. So you're one of the artists. Sorry.
No, one of the nominators.
Nominators.
Also responsible, I suppose, for choreographing the exhibition.
Right.
Because as Jing is saying, it's not a curated show. But at the same time, you look at the kind of the collisions and kind of serendipity between the artists. And I think, as Jing said, lots of them share a real interest in the democratizing impact of new media. And so it was drawing out some of those aspects within their work for the exhibition.
And in that sense, can we expect this kind of art form and exhibition to expand in the future and then
yes,
become more
certainly. This exhibition, we're certainly taking this to Gwangju later in the year, and our ambition is for the prize to continue for the next 5 years or so.
Because if I can have chance to explain our SUM, Global Curatorial Office, it's been started by me as an art historian and independent curator since year 2003, and then we existed as an office in London for like 8 years. But now we have office in Seoul, and then not only curating the contemporary art project and exhibitions, we are very, very happy to launch. We organized and curated of this kind of new forms of contemporary project, as such as like Art Plus Prize, with a great support from the Samsung Electronics.
One of the artists in this exhibition, which is the digital art. First, can you please tell us about your work and yourself a little bit?
Well, my name is Aura Satz, and I work with sound and quite often obsolete technology in film. This is one of my pieces called Spiral Sound Coil, and you're meant to interact with it. You probably can't hear me when I talk.
Yeah.
Inside the horn, but on the inside there's a spiraling sound recording, and it talks about ideas to do with sound waves traveling and never expiring, and perhaps if we had a hearing trumpet or a device subtle enough to pick up on those sounds, we might be able to recover them. So that's the sound recording that's in here. And then I'm showing two films in the main space, one about the Aramix machine, which is an early synthesizer invented by Daphne Oram in the late 50s and early 60s in the UK. And the other is a film about microscopic phonograph grooves and ideas around sound recording, sound inscriptions.
So they are your works as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
Films, yeah.
And can you tell us how you started working on digital art and what you saw in it in terms of future, prospective future art form?
Well, essentially it's the concept that leads me to the technology that I'm going to use. So say with Spiral Sound Coil, I had just finished my film about phonographs, and I'd seen all these amazing horns, and I had this urge to put my head into it in such a way that that this piece then developed of its own accord. But the technology that's used here is actually 6 small speakers placed inside, and a computer, and an amplifier, and an audio interface, so it splits it into 6 different channels. So I wouldn't necessarily have worked with the technology first, but rather with the idea that led to the way in which the work developed. And likewise with my films, I use a very small camera, which can be attached to a microscope. So again, it was a high definition, small attachment that makes the film look a certain way. And even though it's about obsolete technology, it uses very state-of-the-art contemporary technology.
And can we see those works?
Almina, I had an opening. Unfortunately, I only had your tape email. So I'd like to get your but I showed it at a cinema.
About your work in this digital art exhibition and what the rationale and philosophy behind it.
Yeah, Ian and I have been working together as a collaboration for 18 years now, and we've never really considered ourselves to be artists of a particular genre, although we work across live art performance, installation, video, sound, and kind of digital media as well. But perhaps instead of using the sort of more kind of new technology trappings of media, we tend to work with the kind of histories and cultures of old technology, or kind of retro-futuristic takes on technology. The work that we've got in this show is a piece called Radiomania, and it's a 3D stereoscopic kind of enactment, almost like a play, of a cast rehearsing a film. And the film is about...
The film is a kind of imagined reinterpretation of a film from 1922, which was made to demonstrate 3D film technology. And we kind of, when we began, it was commissioned by the BFI a couple of years ago, and they gave us access to their archives. So we spent a long period researching what was in their archive, and we found this film that was made in 3D in 1922, which was just astonishing, because I think culturally we have this kind of idea of 3D being a very 50s kind of thing, and we're all very aware of the kind of big sci-fi films of the 50s that were made in 3D, but to discover that early on people were kind of experimenting with 3D was really exciting. So this film, which was called The Man from Mars, was made specifically to demonstrate the technology that had been invented by a guy called Lawrence Hammond. The system got forgotten about immediately, it didn't really work, and he went on to invent the Hammond organ, so that's what he's famous for. But our film is a kind of imagined reinterpretation of that film.
I see. And like two connected questions are, you know, how have you chosen to be a digital artist? What was the starting point? And the second one is, if we would like to give a message to the masses to attract them to digital art and digital art forms and exhibitions, what message we should give them to attract?
Okay.
I guess we're at a point in culture where, particularly living in the West, it's very difficult to not be touched by digital. Your entire life is, you're pointing something digital at me now. I've got an iPhone in my pocket that I can make a film on, this afternoon if I want to. And I think as your life becomes just totally absorbed in this technology, it's inevitable that kind of as artists you begin to want to explore, there's things that we can do in our studio now that 10 years ago would have been impossible. So I think from an artist's point of view, the most exciting thing about working with digital technology is that it just enables you to do things quicker, faster and cheaper. And the more that you can experiment, the more fun you can have.
I think that there should be, I'd love to for there to be a kind of revolution in the way that we approach art, and to move away from, I think what digital allows us to do is to move away from perhaps a kind of learned belief through education, that somehow we need to have an understanding of the history of art or of the language of art, the specifics of art, in order to be able to unpick it or understand it. The moment we begin to engage with digital media and its languages, the languages of TV and of film and of the internet, what I'd like to see is an opening up of people being able to access art and not feel like it's not for them, or they don't somehow have the tools to understand it. Perhaps in the same way that we approach music or film or television, we don't think as an audience, I can't be a critic of this, I can't say whether I like it or not, or whether I think it's good or not. And I'd love to see those rules applied to art now.
In that sense, do you think digital art may have a kind of democratizing effect in art?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I don't really see digital art as a term. Maybe it's because, it's weird to put a kind of like name on things, but I think most contemporary artists will at some point engage with some form of digital media, and I think that engagement with digital media will only serve to make their art more accessible, definitely.
Nice. Well said and well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.